Hey everybody, welcome back for another exciting episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac. If you're joining me for the first time, welcome to the circus. There's gonna be some stumbling and bumbling, but we're gonna get through this because we are practicing our craft. All right, so this episode opens up. See, that was the first stumble. This episode opens up with Ashley and Michael coming home with their new bundle of joy, Dylan. He's the fourth addition to the Ashley Michael team, and Ashley securing the bag. So yay for Dylan, and welcome to the world, Dylan. Your dad has some questionable behavior, but we're gonna move on from that. So, Ashley mentions that, oh, I was, basically hesitant about bringing another child into this house. Notice she said house and not world. The world is chaotic and crazy right now, but she said house because Michael is suspect in every way. Michael has cheated. Michael has cheated with men. Michael has touched Juan's butt, and the camera guy. No, Michael wants to suck Juan's, you know what, and has touched the cameraman's butt allegedly, or the producer's butt allegedly. And so she's, was caught with a woman allegedly, but she's hesitant, and she has every right to be. Anyhow, we move on to I just can't get through this today, everybody, because this episode just didn't do it for me. This is my second attempt. Oh my, oh my. I guess because my world has been vacation and Big Brother. Now we're going to get through this. And forgive me for my stumbles and my lack of enthusiasm. But this episode, and I'm losing my notes. That's why notes have never been good with me. And for a living, I present things, and I always mess up because I'm just not good at reading notes. So anyhow, yeah, they spend some time with Ashley. Then they move on to Mia. Mia and her family are heading out to a picnic in the park. They look like they're dressed for their Easter pictures, but hey, it's all good. They have money, so that's what they do. They're in the park now. Oh, and by the way, Mia's daughter stumbled over the curb. Mia's like, shake it up, shake it off, get up, get up. You got it. It's okay, it's okay. We're not gonna have that crying. She didn't say that, but that was the sentiment because we don't want once a kid starts crying, it's just like how do you get them to stop? Anyhow, they're in the park. G, her husband, pops open a bottle of rosé. Then they get to talking about Mia's mom in the past and her lack of a connection with her mom because her mom was a drug addict on heroin. And so was her father, we found out. However, her mother's been clean for 10 years and she's trying to make a connection with her mom. But it's just not happening because they just don't see eye to eye. And her mom says, you're just like your father. And, like Mia's telling her story of how she was raised, it's the typical story that we hear of people from a broken home, which is unfortunate. And I am not by any way negating her situation or dismissing what she's gone through. It's just we've heard it before. And I feel like her attempt to tell the story is kind of disingenuous. It's her storyline for the show because eventually I'm sure she's going to meet it with her mom. But I think I read that her mom passed. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. But, Mia was in the foster system, and because she witnessed her father being abusive, and so they put her in the foster system, and nobody wants to go home. But I think we're gonna get to that later in the episode. So she's using this as fodder for the show. Anyhow, we move on to Candace packing. Her house, did you notice in the background? I'm always looking in the background. She had bags and bags of clothes everywhere. And Candace, why do you have all those clothes? Because you're usually quite tacky. And it's always amazing to me when people have a lot of clothes and I'm like, you kind of tacky though. Like, you have a whole closet full of tackiness. Mind you, she just moved into the house, so maybe she's sorting through things that she's going to keep and some that she's going to purge. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Anyhow, she's talking about this trip, and then we cut away to see Gizelle visiting Ashley. Of course, she's visiting Dylan for the first time. She wants to see the baby. Did y'all notice that Ashley's wall, when she opened that door, had this 90s horrible, like, splash paint that wasn't done well? I was like, Ashley, Michael has money. Like, redecorate. Hire a decorator. Anyhow, so Ashley's with little Dylan, and Gizelle mentions that, her pregnancy, they swap pregnancy and childbirth stories. She pooped on the table. Ashley pooped, I guess. She's like, this situation down here is different. Anyhow, as little babies, newborns do, Dylan had a paint splash in his onesie. So, that goes on. So then, Gizelle mentions, Candace's jammy jam, pajama jam. And he mentions Mia again and the whole Mia situation. We're going to run this into the ground. And it wasn't even that interesting. So she says, "Did you get invited?" Then they cut to Candace. It slipped my mind. I think my head wrap was too tight. Candace didn't want to invite Ashley, and you know what? Ashley doesn't need to come. You just gave birth and you're nursing. You can't be away for that long. But Gizelle invited Ashley anyhow. So then we see Candace. What else happens? Oh, so Gizelle mentions Wendy's titties, and they're getting at something. She keeps talking about these titties and this new body and her new wardrobe, and I think something's going on. I think she did this for a reason. They're eluding the whole Eddie might be cheating storyline that's building. We know this. So then we come back to Wendy's house, and Eddie's there, and Eddie's basically giving her this talk like a football coach. Like, what are you doing, Wendy? She's like, I want to be, I want these candles. Well, you need a business plan. You need to figure out a budget. You my budget. No, I'm not. This budget door is closed. Here's the funny thing. Wendy has 4 degrees, and none of them were helpful in business. So to me, it's like you have all these degrees, but none of them can progress you further in business. Then what's the point of at least one of them? Like, if one of them should be a business degree. But Whitney was trying to be this political analyst or whatever. Whitney also mentions that she is torn between who she is. Like, she's like, I have all these degrees. I'm a professor. I'm a commentator. I'm an analyst, but I also like trap music. So she's like caught in between trapping and being a political figure. That's hard. You can't trap to be a political figure. Very few have been able to do that. Like, Obama mentioned that he liked Jay-Z, but nobody really bought that. You're like, oh yeah, I got Jay-Z in my headphones. Right. But you don't have trap in your headphones, because that trap life is hard to give up. But she's building this storyline. This is why she's dressing all sexy, because she likes trap music. But you didn't tell us that last season. You told us about your 4 degrees. We might have liked you more last season, Wendy, had you told us about this other part of yourself, your higher self for trap. We would have liked you more, Wendy. Anyhow, Wendy, come on now. What are you doing? So these candles, Wendy, they're not gonna get you paid. You look dusty. I'm just kidding. All right, so we move on to Gizelle. It's Sobe, and Robin trickles in, and then finally, this is, I guess, the meeting without Karen. We're gonna meet up with Mia to get to know Mia. Let's get to know Mia, as Gizelle might say. So Robin joins, and they order drinks, and here comes Mia in this shiny dress. So it's like Robin makes a comment, is this the dress that you wore at the strip club, the ball gown that you wore at the strip club where you weren't stripping? Okay, that's a funny one, Robin. You got it there. One for Robin for this episode, or maybe this season. So, they are forever throwing shade. And here's the thing about Robin. Robin could have been, and I've said this before, could have been the cool homegirl that people like, but yet she chose Gizelle. And so now it's like, Robin, you're annoying. I was rooting for you, Robin. I was rooting for you. Because I like Robin in the beginning. She was laid back and wasn't your typical archetype of these shows. Like, she was just very laid back and chill, and had kind of a basketball vibe to her. Seemed like she was kind of goofy, but like to have a good time. But she's now just Gizelle's Robin. She's Gizelle's Robin. So they're sitting down, and Mia comes, she tells about her foster child upbringing again, and then here the story continues about Mia and her life. So then Robin actually chimes in, like, were your parents, did your father die of AIDS? Because Juan's parents were on heroin too, and they both died of AIDS. So that's a bond that they share. Like, they had heroin and AIDS in the family, and that's unfortunate that drugs have destroyed our community. And contrary to what people think, Robin is of our community. I know people are like, she ain't really black. She half black. She's not half black. Just she has genes that are white, and like a lot of us, you know. Anyhow, they Gizelle actually shows some empathy, like, oh my god, and my dog is whining in the background as per usual, but we're gonna keep this moving because we gotta get this finished to get the workday started. So we come back, and now the ladies are finally heading to Williamsburg. There is a party bus with a pole in it, which is typical of the housewives. And you know what? The funny thing is, if I'm going anywhere for more than an hour, a party bus is just not comfortable for me. Like, you're sitting and you're sliding. It's no way to really lounge for everybody. So, but you know, they're on it. And so all the ladies, you know, they start getting a little risque. Whenever there's a pole, people try to act like, oh, I'm afraid of the pole. Oh, I'm gonna get on the pole. Ooh, the pole, the pole. Now, first up on the pole was, who was it first on the pole? Who jumped on the pole first? It didn't matter. I think Robin might have jumped on the pole first. Robin couldn't do anything, but I think Robin has taken pole classes before, if I'm not mistaken. So she was just fronting. Maybe. You're a basketball wife. All those basketball wives, remember they were all doing flirty girl fitness. You've done it once before. So then, you know, they all jump on the pole. Wendy jumps on the pole. She didn't do anything. Then Miss Mia jumps on the pole, and Mia, you know, she knows how to work that pole, and she worked the pole. Anyhow, what else happens? I'm just not good at looking at notes. I should have tried a teleprompter app today, but I didn't. So bear with me, y'all. I'm struggling. I just got back from vacation, so I'm still in that state of mind. But I wanted to be consistent and bring you a video to all 2 people watching. So yeah, Candace, you know, here's a funny thing. Candace is going to, if there's a mic around, Candace is going to get on it, and she got on the mic. So I neglected to mention that when Karen entered the bus, there was some shade thrown by Gizelle. And I'm just like, oh God, Gizelle, just get off Karen. You will never win when it comes to Karen. And Karen was like, until there is some responses, some ownership and accountability, I have nothing for Gizelle. And Karen paid her dust. She will not be bothered by you, Gizelle. Anyhow, Candace was the first to give it a whirl. So then Candace mentions on the way there, you know, this is how it is going to go. This is a rooming situation. Gizelle, Robin, and Mia and I are in one house. Karen, Wendy, and I guess a scholar in a house. Because Karen is taking a liking to Wendy, so y'all should be in the house. Then Karen also mentions that she's going to Surrey for her to be inducted as an ambassador to Surrey, of the city of 300 people. And she's invited Wendy. And so Gizelle makes a note that, just don't blink because you might miss Surrey. So then they get to the house. This house is gorgeous, mind you. This is probably one of my favorite vacation homes, and kind of, I guess, a lot of the franchises is in Williamsburg, and it is very, and like Gizelle says, it's a diamond in the rough. I don't know, did Candace say that? But anyhow, Gizelle, you need to take note on decorating. That was a nicely designed, decorated home. And I love decorating, which I've mentioned in other videos. So, you know, they get settled into their rooms, and then they're sitting at a table. And Robin is like, Mia, you upstairs? You don't need to go downstairs. And I'm just like, look at Robin trying to pull rank. Like, who are you, Robin? You are Robin. You're not Batman. And it's just kind of stink. And Karen's like, look at Gizelle. Because, you know, Gizelle wanted Robin upstairs with her. Watch out. She's a snake. Gizelle's a snake, pretty much. And they get it popping. Like, Gizelle says, does anybody want to apologize for anything? I think we need some apologies. And everybody's like, what? And then Karen's like, what do you mean? You said that Gizelle, from Robin, tried to wish Ray death. I did not wish Ray death. And then they cut back to her, Gizelle, who actually didn't wish Ray death. She said, before I lose these looks fade, Ray will be dead. And actually, Gizelle, your looks are fading. And that's what's funny to me, because I think women who've gone their whole lives being, you're so pretty, you're so pretty, you're so pretty, don't realize that your looks fade, but they still see, which is cool. It's a healthy self-image. But it's like, Gizelle, your looks have faded and your jaws are like sagging. You could get that Cabello heat thing, or you can get some cool sculpting for that jawline. You'll be back to your regular looks, maybe. You won't look that old. This dog is getting me. So, they start arguing back and forth. You did wish Ray death. And Robin's like, she did not wish him death. You are crazy. And so the episode just kind of ends. Stay tuned for next week for more of this back and forth where you wish Ray death. Like and subscribe. I understand if you didn't like this video because I was stumbling and bumbling. I could not get through it, but I did. I persisted. She persisted.